Fine, I'm the criminal. You're the terrorist. We can all play a part. Who you want to be?
The definition of an archetype is a recurring image or form that is found in cultures around the world.
There's something that causes all of us to respond collectively to certain characters or events.
The hero basically goes out into the world and encounters various different kinds of characters that perform different functions. They're helpers, they're opponents, they're complicators.
What Joseph Campbell did is that he identified this in a specific set of terms. And he used what he called the monomyth, or the hero's journey, as kind of a frame for these different archetypes.
You think you're all noble and heroic for coming after me? I was fine.
The most important archetype in the monomyth is the hero. We, as viewers or readers, are looking at their journey.
I'm getting them all off the island. All of them.
It's the character, it's the person I would want to be. A person who goes out into original experience, into the fire, and comes back to tell us about it.
Traditionally in literature, it's easy to identify the single hero. For instance, in Hamlet, Hamlet is the hero. In The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, she's the hero. In Lost, the characters shift their archetypes. So one person may be the hero in one season or one episode. They each take their turn as a hero.
I think if you're to look at the character and ask, well, is this a hero or not? I think the first question you need to ask is this character sacrificing anything? Is he enduring hardships, and is he doing it for the community and not himself? Because it's very easy to become a protagonist, but not a hero.
Usually the hero is reborn at the end of the story, or that's his goal, to become something greater.
Trebuchet delivers half a ton of force.
I don't get you, man. One minute you're quoting Nietzsche, now all of a sudden you're an engineer. I don't think I can spell trebuchet.
There's a T on the end.
The mentor is the character that provides the hero with inspiration, education. Usually the mentor is older, he or she is always wiser, and the hero can benefit from the mentor's experience.
I think that in an interesting way, Yoda from Star Wars becomes the archetypal mentor. Yoda is training the warrior. Yoda is very clear about what he needs to do and who this person is and what the larger context is.
Jacob has served as a mentor. We don't know what his intentions are, but he is a mentor. John Locke has served as a mentor to Walt.
Why'd you leave Kate behind?
Wasting your time, Yoda.
Even Ben, even if he might not have the best of intentions, he has mentored the castaways.
Jacob told me what we had to do. You don't get to make all the decisions.
He told me what to do, but he didn't tell you how.
Whoever moves the island can never come back.
More than anything, I think the mentor archetype projected by us is the person who seems to have a fundamentally deeper awareness of the world and the universe than all of us.
The Threshold Guardian is the first obstacle along the hero's path. The Threshold Guardian is not necessarily a bad character, an evil character, but sometimes is.
The Threshold Guardian invites the hero into this journey or warns the hero about dangers along the way.
You know what you need, Mr. Locke? You need to go on a walkabout.
If the hero is available and willing to go on the adventure, it's going to happen. But if he's not, the Threshold Guardian is a good character to have in that place because the Threshold Guardian is going to stop that person from going on that particular adventure because it's not for him.
Those who are capable, they're the ones who can get through the Threshold Guardian. They get through the obstacles and they go on that path. They go down that journey. What the Threshold Guardian does is to warn the hero. You're going into a dangerous place where the rules that you're used to may not apply anymore. So, for example, in Lost, there's a lot of different thresholds, so there's different Threshold Guardians. There's the smoke monster, who could be considered a Threshold Guardian. Ethan might be considered a Threshold Guardian because he's really the first obstacle they see and that they have to deal with.
You bring her here.
If you don't, I'm going to kill one of them.
The goddess symbolizes love, human connection. It's kind of the next step on the hero's journey. Once they've gotten through all of these different physical obstacles, the meeting and the knowing of the goddess is kind of the ultimate place where the hero wants to be. In the Odyssey, the goddess is Odysseus's wife. When he returns from his long journey, it's, Penelope. He gets to reunite with that source of life, which is really what the goddess represents. In Lost, we might see Kate as the goddess. We might see Juliet as the goddess for Sawyer.
No. You're playing one of your mind games. They would never trust you.
In their defense, I'm not an easy person to trust.
The shapeshifter changes personality, changes direction, causes confusion, uncertainty.
You don't trust me? What about her? She's a spy.
It's unclear to the hero which side the shapeshifter's on, and if he can trust the shapeshifter.
You're not really quite sure who this character actually is, and that creates uncertainty.
A really good example of a shapeshifter is in Lord of the Rings, Gollum. Initially he seems like a bad guy. He seems to be working for the dark forces, but we see him change a little bit, and we want to trust him. Certainly in Lost, Ben is a shapeshifter. Juliet is a shapeshifter.
Put the gun down.
We don't know whether we can trust her. We don't know whether she's really helping Jack or not. And then if you want to really be literal about it, we can look at the smoke monster, who actually changes shape and is very deceptive. It's just a very literal image of what a shapeshifter is.
I'm surprised you want to leave.
Sorry?
It's just weird, after all that time you spent trying to get back here.
What do you mean, get back here?
What do I mean?
The trickster archetype, sometimes he can be silly, clownish, usually has quick turns of wit.
What do you need a boat for? Can't you just turn into smoke and fly your ass over the water?
Do you think if I could do that, I would still be on this island?
No, because that'd be ridiculous.
The purpose that the trickster serves is to shake up the status quo, make us really think, make the viewer, the reader, really think about things from a different perspective.
Yeah, they provide comic relief, but they also provide lots of consternation, and they generate story, they generate conflict. They're the ones who oftentimes are responsible for situations in story.
Sawyer, all of his nicknames.
Okay, what the hell am I supposed to do about that?
You and Chewie want to slow down a second? Talk to me here?
He serves sometimes as the trickster. Hurley is also a trickster. Charlie is a trickster at times. Miles is a trickster. The trickster himself may not change throughout the story, but will change others around him and will change the way that we see the story. The shadow in literature is usually considered to be the villain. They work for the dark side. They're that energy of the unexpressed, the unrealized. What we fear most is embodied by the shadow.
The shadow is clearly a representation or a projection of our fear of what we might be.
Any wicked witch, of course the one from Wizard of Oz, is a shadow. In Lost, Ben is a shadow. Kimi.
You know who I am?
Charles Widmore is a shadow.
There's a part of it that we identify with. I mean, I think the shadow archetype wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't cause us to react emotionally unless there was something in it that we felt was dangerous for us because it represents us.
The smoke monster has reflected that back to some of the characters, such as Echo. Quite literally, they see the shadow of themselves, kind of the dark side of themselves. Perhaps the most distinguished shadow figures are within each of these characters, because as we see with Jack, with John, with Kate, they're always doing things to destroy their own lives, so they're acting as their own shadow.
If you want to think about the characters in Lost as fulfilling various archetype roles, to me, it's more interesting to think about the ways that they subvert those roles.
Want some more of me, boy? Tell everyone what you told me.
All of the characters on Lost perform functions that are multiple, shifting, porous, and fluid.
A character does not have to be one archetype or the other, and usually isn't.
Everyone gets to be a hero at some point. Everyone has to be bad at some point. Everyone needs to be rescued at some point. Everyone needs to be solaced at some point. Everyone needs to be vulnerable.
You definitely can trap yourself by coming away with one single interpretation or one reading of a character and identifying a character as perhaps, you know, the one specific archetype isn't going to work oftentimes because we're complex. And great characters are complex people.